Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 216 of a year of change. This week, we're sort of not quite wrapping it up. We still have tomorrow, but documentary that I'm doing today is a third in the series that we've been watching lately, The Truth About Bleh. And this is sort of a little more, I guess, it's more of an all-encompassing thing. We did take a look at sugar, then we took a look at fat, which is a little bit behind where we should have been. But this one is basically just the truth about calories, just in general. So it's a little more open. It's not quite as narrowly focused as the sugar one was. And just sort of gives a general overall thing, especially where we're sort of wrapping up all the bad stuff, the sugar, salt, and fat. Couldn't remember that for a second. All the things that we generally consider to be the bad parts of our diet. I think it sort of fits in there. Plus, it's now the third in a series that we've been doing. It's out of sync from when it actually aired. I did want to sort of bring up as well, I know that probably a lot of you are going, why is everything from the BBC? A lot of the documentaries that I have, you'll notice, well, not that I have, but that I'm putting up, or linking to is probably a better way to put it. I find that there's a lot of them that are out there that there's a big difference between stuff in North America and stuff in Europe when it comes to documentaries, particularly about weight and things like that. And the main reason why I get so much stuff from the UK is that there's more of a scientific bend to it. That they'll say, the information is provided in a way that it's saying, these are the facts, this is the science behind it, this is, the good, this is the bad, and here's all the information you need to do with it as you see fit. What I find, though, with a lot of stuff, and I think I've spoken about this before, is that the stuff that in North America, any of the documentaries that we get, there's a lot of sort of melodrama that goes along with that. It's never just a matter of someone saying, each year there are 200,000 people dying of whatever. It's always, every year there's 250,000 people that are murdered by God knows what, and the dramatic music, and then there's almost like a freak show attraction aspect to it. And it's something that I try to avoid with documentaries because I understand there is some entertainment that needs to be done in order to sort of maintain people's interest in a lot of these things. But for something like this, I would much rather just have the information presented and just say, there you go, there's the information, that's all that you needed to know. Go look up the rest of it yourself. This is a good start. Without having all the melodrama that goes along with it, and, there just seems to, I don't know, there's always that, you can't just have information provided to you in, one of our documentaries. There has to be some other aspect to it that's either invoking fear, or that's usually what it is. It's usually some sort of fear-mongering that's going on in it. And just saying, this causes cancer, or this is the worst thing in the world since grape catapults, or nothing. I don't know. Pick something. I don't seem to find that they still have it, obviously, but I don't seem to find that as often in documentaries that I'm getting from the UK. Which is why there's so much stuff that I have from there, because it's presented in much more straightforward manner. The ones that we have seen, we have a lot of informational things coming from the UK. The sugar, the fat, and this one, the calories. The ones from the States and from Canada, a lot of it is, when we did the one on wheat. And yes, it's still a news program, but it's still the war on wheat. The man who ate himself to death. Like, there's always just something dramatic and sort of tabloid headline, esque feel to it, and you just don't seem to really get that as often. So that's why I sort of lean more towards that, because I don't think that any of us really need to have all that melodrama attached to it. We understand what we're watching. We're watching it for a reason, and just give us the information. Let us process it that way. We don't need to have all the, explosions and everything else that go along with it. We aren't watching a movie. We're watching a documentary. So, anyway, figured I would bring that up because it's been something that's sort of, when I was going through everything, I was just going, I have a lot of it. And I was trying to figure out, exactly why. And I think that's a lot of the reason behind it, because I have found other documentaries. And I get partway through and they're just ridiculously melodramatic. And you just think, you're trying to watch a science program. And so it just seems to be lacking in a lot of the science aspect of it when you look at it from North America. Anyway, the documentary for today is, just as I say, it's technically this one aired before the fat one did, but for what we're doing, I think it fits. And it really sort of gives an all-encompassing look at our calories. Just our intake and, what it means and where we're getting it and better sources and things like that. And it sort of follows this one doctor who's actually presenting it. It follows him through the course of a day as well, saying, here's how many calories I'm burning, not just from exercise and things like that, because I know that we sort of track what we're doing exercise-wise, but we are tracking what we're burning, or we aren't tracking, I should say. We aren't tracking what we're burning just in the run of a day. Almost choked to death on nothing. So in general, the whole 2,000 calorie a day sort of thing, or 1,800 or whatever you're at right now. I'm still at 1,800. Mine hasn't gone down, so I think that might be the lower limit of MyFitnessPal. But that's pretty much where I'm stuck at 1,800 calories a day. It hasn't gone down anymore. It's otherwise it would just keep reducing every week. But say roughly 2,000 calories a day, which is the normal caloric intake for a person. During the course of the day, you're going to be burning through those 2,000 calories. So, which is why when you don't eat, you still lose weight, because even if you don't do anything, because you're still burning. They show the difference between hard exercise and light exercise and not doing anything, and just shows how different people react in different ways to it. And I think we talked about this at one point as well. The amount of calories that you burn while you're actually at rest, that's your metabolism. That people say, well, you need to boost your metabolism. It's like, well, yeah, it's pretty much set. There are ways that you can sort of up it, but anyway, that's sort of getting into the purview of, well, if you take this pill, it'll boost your metabolism. Doesn't work that way. But they go through 3 different families, and just to give an overall idea as to how we burn calories off, the sources that you can get, or that came out weird, didn't it? The sources that you can get, and then I didn't know what I was going to say after that. The sources of your calories that do make a difference, whether you're getting it from high fiber, high protein foods, or junk food, or greasy food, or wherever it's coming from, and just sort of generally giving an overview of everything that we've been doing for the past 6 or 7 months. So there's not going to be a tremendous amount of new information in there, but I thought it sort of wrapped everything up in a nice, neat bow, especially where we've done, the past 12 weeks have been fairly, I wouldn't say intense, fairly informational heavy on a lot of, sort of focusing on the bad stuff that we've been eating for the past God knows how many years. So this just sort of wraps everything up, and it's going to set the stage for what we're going to be doing over the next 12 weeks, which is the good stuff, the fiber, carbohydrates, and protein, which we will get to eventually. I haven't figured out which way we're going to go with that. I'll probably start with fiber or carbs. Carbs, we'll leave that for the end, maybe, or at the beginning. I don't know yet. Haven't figured that out. But this just sort of wraps everything up that we've been doing, and it does divide things up and say, these are the main things that we eat. We eat fat, carbohydrates, and we eat protein. Those are the 3 building blocks, which really we probably should have done those as a group, and then all the bad stuff later. But carbs are generally seen as, oh no, they're bad for you. You have to have low carb diets and everything else. No, you do need them. And that's one thing that we have learned through all of this, is that everything that we have been eating, even the bad stuff, not necessarily the junk food, but stuff that isn't as good for us as it should be. Again, that doesn't make any sense. Stuff that we've been eating that is not as healthy for us as the things that we should be eating. That's what I meant. Anyway, even stuff like that we still need it. We still need the fat. We still need the sugar. Sodium, yeah. Your body does need some sugar, but stuff that we're getting from regular food. It's the added sugar that's the danger, obviously. Same thing with fat. Our bodies still need fat, but there are healthier choices that we can make. And it doesn't mean that we can't have cookies every once in a while. I'm obviously not at that stage yet, but it just means that we can't have it all the time like we were. And the same thing with salt. I've cut way back on the amount of sodium that I've taken in. I haven't done my numbers yet. We'll do that this week, though, and see how that went. See if getting back on track is helping at all. But once we start looking at some of the healthier stuff, that we're going to be sort of replacing the bad stuff that we've been eating. But even in the past few weeks when we've been looking at this, the bad stuff isn't as bad as we've been told. There's always, again, that fear-mongering that sort of goes along with that, saying, don't eat fat, have low fat or fat-free, and, don't have a ton of sugar. Well, the sugar is almost pretty much accurate, saying we don't really need all that. But, the sodium, we still need some. Yes, we're eating too much of it, but we can say that pretty much about any food that we've been eating. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be, chicken breast. If you're eating too much of it, you're eating too much of it. So for a lot of us, that's been our problem. But I think it's been good. I mean, we've learned quite a bit. I have anyway. Just going through, not just, the past 6 or 7 months, but even just in the past 12 weeks, when we've really been sort of focusing in on the quote-unquote bad things that we've been eating, that we can find that we don't have to get rid of everything. We just need to sort of cut back and make better choices. And instead of eating, entire buckets of icing, there are other alternatives that we can go to. So, as I say, this is part of that same series, The Truth About, and just that the 3 that I have found are the ones that are on health. So we did the sugar and then the fat, and so this one is just on calories. I'm sure they have something in there, and I'm trying to find it, about protein and fiber and everything else. Don't know if it's going to be in the same series, but if it is, I think that they're presented well, and they give a really, quite a quite a bit of information. There we go. I'll try that again. And it's presented in a very good way. I think that just sort of succinctly wraps everything up. And yeah, anyway, I don't know what I was going to say there. This has been a really awful video all the way through. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to say. I think that was it. Unlike last week, where I was a day late, I will put this into the recommended viewing playlist. I was a little bit late last time. I found that I did that on Tuesday as well, when I was adding new people in, and then I went to work and didn't realize that I hadn't done it until late in the day. So I will be sure to put that in there as well. And as I say, it's something that I think just overall, it's not going to give you a lot of new information, but just sort of reiterates everything that we've been doing, and in a way sort of justifies it and allows you to say, you know what, okay, we've learned all this stuff. It's good. Yes, I understand this now, and you're going to have a much better understanding as to how everything works anyway. But anyway, there is entertainment there. It's just not melodramatic, so we should be good. Anyway, I'm rambling, so I'm going to stop this video here. So thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. And in the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.